Hi there, Kalyn here with a Paper Smooches card tutorial. Today I'm going to be using the Sugar Rush stamp set, the coffee and tea dies, and I'm also going to be using a couple stamps from the Hullabaloo stamp set, which you'll see later. So first I'm just scoring and folding my card to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then I'm picking some pattern paper from the Chamel line from American Crafts, and I'm going to be using this really pretty subtle wood grain pattern as one of the background papers for my stamping and my card. It's just a nice cool kind of gray taupey color. So I'm just going to be cutting that down to the size I want, and then I'm going to be taking this die cut that says drink tea and eat cake, and that's also from that Chamel collection. I just thought it would be the perfect focal point for a birthday card, and then the stamping that I'm going to do around it is going to match perfectly. So I'm just taking some patterned pieces from that same collection and doing a couple strips, just using scraps that I had. I like doing this, it just adds some extra patterns but doesn't overwhelm the design. So just placing them where I think they will work. And then I'm taking a couple other die cut elements from the same Chamel collection and just playing around with them on the layout and seeing how they work together. I don't end up actually using that pink rectangle, but I thought I'd give it a try at first and just kind of see how things go. Now I'm going to be cutting out some pattern paper to die cut from those coffee and tea dies. I'm going to be cutting a teapot and a little teacup from that yellow paper. So now that I have my die cuts, I'm just going to sort of play around with where I think they're going to work out. And I wasn't sure about where the teapot would go, but I knew I definitely wanted to use the teacup. So you'll kind of see me play around and get sort of a basis for a layout right there. Next I'm going to do my stamping, and I'm going to take the cupcake from the Sugar Rush stamp set from Paper Smooches, and I'm going to be just putting that on my block, and then I'm going to stamp that by the top of the card. So I'm taking my Walnut Stain Distress ink from Tim Holtz, and I'm going to be stamping the cupcake in that. Now I'm taking the cupcake with a cherry on top from the Hullabaloo stamp set and just deciding where I think that will look best. And I decided, first thought maybe that corner, but then decided it would look best in a cluster up by the first cupcake. So I decide to put it up there. Now I'm taking some classic craft ink from Paper Tray ink, and I'm going to stamp the cupcake in that. Now I'm going back to the Sugar Rush stamp set to use the little cluster of sprinkles that are in it, and I'm going to be stamping those around the card and just adding a nice little texture and giving it some flow. So I'm using my Lipstick Stain Distress ink from Tim Holtz. This is one of my favorite pink colors, and just adding those little sprinkles all around the card where I think look good. Now I'm just going to be adhering my main panel down on the card using my Tombow Mono Multi Glue. And then doing the same thing with the 2 strips of patterned paper that I trimmed out, just adhering them along the side. Now I'm going to be adding some baker's twine. I use this pink baker's twine from the Twinery, so you'll just see me measure out how much I need, cut it, and then just tie a double knot in the back of the card. So now now I'm just arranging my die cut shapes again. You see me do this several times throughout my process. It just helps me kind of get an idea for where everything should go. So I'm just adhering down that little ticket die cut and then deciding where for final placement that little tag is going to go and then where my teacup is going to go. And you'll see I kind of played around. I tried to incorporate that teapot, but it just seemed to be confusing, the layout, and just being a little too much. So I just wanted to stick with the teacup, and I thought it would give better focus to the focal points on my card. So I'm just using some foam tape and putting that on the back of my tag. And before I'm adhering it to the card, it's just always easier if you adhere your die cut piece to the piece that's going to be popped up first. I just find that easier if I can remember to do it that way. So now that that's on there, I'm just going to peel off the backing on the adhesive foam and then adhering it to the card front. So now I'm taking some Mr. Huey's spray from Studio Calico, just shaking it up, and then I'm going to be just dotting some little ink droplets on the card. And I'm going to do the same thing with some pink glimmer mist from Tattered Angels as well. I just think it adds a nice little whimsical touch to the card, a little bit of that artsy paint splatter kind of look, which is really in right now, which I'm totally loving. So you'll just see me do that here with the shade Tutti Frutti, which is a nice bright pink. And that's going to finish off the card, just adding a little bit of texture and a little bit of fun layering. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to check out Paper Smooches for the stamps and dies I used.